So, you saw the title of the video. I will be reviewing Furiosa, a Mad Max saga, which is a prequel to Mad Max Fury Road and an origin movie of our main character, Imperator Furiosa. I'm going to be honest, I have never seen Mad Max Fury Road in its entirety, and I tried to watch it a couple days prior to when this movie came out, and it looks so bad, and everything about the first 20 minutes just made me want to turn it off and not watch it ever again. I think the glaze of the previous movie is insane because it honestly had horrible CGI, and I know it came out about a decade ago, but for 2015, the CGI was horrendous. Also, the way the camera was shooting everything made me go into convulsions, so I didn't have high hopes for this one, even though the reviews were saying it was amazing, and I thought it was going to be mid and not make me care about the franchise any more than I already had, which was not at all. And I'm happy to say that it was actually enjoyable, and I liked the story that was being told. I thought the visuals were nice and the CGI looked perfect. I think the director did a much better job than the unwatchable unbearableness of the previous movie, and I really liked how Furiosa's childhood was fleshed out and made you sympathetic to the character and made her motives seem understandable and desirable. Some people complain how the backstory or childhood of Furiosa was stretched too long and took up too much of the movie, but I think they are completely wrong. I liked how much they were able to connect the childhood to when she was older and see her progression of being innocent to a badass. To me, it didn't seem too long at all, and it was a great way to introduce characters or reintroduce old ones into the movie. Anya Taylor Joy, who I don't know any of her movies, I'm pretty sure I haven't watched anything she's been in, but she did an amazing job and seemed very capable of being this tough female that actually has depth and portrays it perfectly. Chris Hemsworth was also fantastic, and it was a shock with how little he looks and even sounds like what I'm used to. I knew he was an Aussie, but he sounded super Aussie in this, and his nose looked super real. It was shocking, and his role as Dementus he played was moi, chef's kiss. I was worried he was gonna kind of suck as a villain and kind of be too PG and not menacing and kind of be played up as a joke because so many movies where the female is portrayed as tough, the main villain, who's a male, is always super incompetent and gets defeated in the dumbest ways, and the villain always is written poorly, but not in this. Chris Hemsworth's character is very capable and smart and brutal, and I think he was one of the best villains I've ever seen in a while. I'm also glad he wasn't like an antagonist and not the main threat, but I'd say he was the main problem for everything bad that ever happened to Furiosa. I'm also glad there were plenty of different settings because I hate when a movie takes place in the same location. It gets pretty boring and uninteresting, at least in my opinion, but unless it's done well, and most of the time it's not. That pretty much covers everything I liked about the movie. I will now go into what I didn't, which isn't a whole lot again. I didn't really have anything I was looking forward to specifically because I don't know squat about the franchise and couldn't watch Fury Road for the reasons I've stated. I will now be getting into spoilers, so here's your warning. But a few things I didn't really like was one of the characters who isn't really a main character, but I'd say he was pretty prevalent as a character who's kind of Furiosa's love interest named, hope I'm saying this right, Praetorian Jack. Anyways, I hope I pronounced that right. He's like her partner that helps drive the super long silver semi that's pretty heavily utilized in the movie. And I really thought he was going to die at the very end along with Chris Hemsworth's character because he's not in Fury Road, that much I know. So last time we see his character, he's being tortured by Chris Hemsworth, and it's not really evident whether he's dead or not. They kind of just leave it at he was being dragged by a bike and Rottweilers were biting him. But yeah, that's the last time we see him, and the audience is just left to forget him. And I thought that was very sour and poor way of finishing his character, who was very likable, and I was actually half hoping that he would live and be with Furiosa, and they just dropped that wet fart on us. The upside to this is that the movie doesn't have another generic love story ending, but they ended his character so badly that I don't know why they did that. Another character that I thought was ended rather badly was Chris Hemsworth's character. Turns out that when Furiosa does finally have him captured, she leaves him in a cliff or like a mountain to suffer while a tree grows from his crotch. I don't even know. It doesn't really seem like that big of a deal, but for someone like Chris Hemsworth and him being the villain, I would think the ending of his character would have been way better. Now, the movie does say many who tell the tale shape it as she killed him by shooting him in the head or mutilated him or tortured him, which I thought was way better than what the movie actually gave us. One last thing to critique, it's kind of a personal preference, but the music was very bland. The same score was played whenever something crazy or life threatening was happening, and there was nothing that got me going, nothing that got the juices going. Now, I do think the first one does this better, and the music and score was a lot better than this one's, but again, that's a personal preference, and I don't think the movie needed it, but I would have liked it more if they had it. Anyways, the Yap session is over, and I would rate this an 8 out of 10. It's a solid movie, and it's fun to watch. Please like and subscribe, and goodbye.